Hello, I'm Richard Raffan. A couple of weeks ago I made a goblet for the 25th of the Four Ways projects, and that went up this morning, February 2025. And that was this goblet. It was the longest piece I had available at the time. I had filmed this one, but unfortunately everything went out of focus while I was turning the stem, so you didn't get to see that. That was quite challenging. I have just made something a lot more challenging, which is this one, and basically made the same way as the smaller one, but with a little more going on at the top. And so that's what you're going to see in this video, or rather you're going to see excerpts, because it's taken about 90 minutes to make, and there was quite a bit of messing around hollowing the end, but I learnt a couple of things about doing that, and that's what you're going to see in this video. This, I think, is spruce. It started off life as a mast, and I found I had an 8-foot length, 2400 millimeters length, and it's pretty straight grained, slight waviness there, but overall this is pretty straight grained, which is what you need if something's going to be really thin. So I'm aiming for a stem here, probably under 1/4 inch. There'll be the goblet part at this end. Only first off I'm going to true this end so I can flip it round into the chuck with a centre mark, but I'm also going to hollow into the base a bit just to make it a bit lighter, and I suppose gives you something to look at when you look at the bottom of this thing. So true this up first using a 1-inch skew. Running at 1700. I think this piece was originally hand planed around. It certainly hasn't been turned. It's got multi-facets which I can feel on it. I'll just get it all round first. So it's just splintering out a wee bit. Cut across the grain so that it'll then break away nice and cleanly at the joint. That's where I did the cross cut. Now true up the end grain here. Now I'm getting set up for hollowing the base a little bit. So I have my steady, which is basically these two bits clamped to a cross piece here, which fits into the lathe bed. On the other side I've got a short rest now, so I can get that tight into the job. So it's the 3/8 spindle gouge, 3/8 flute. Just rotated the tool a bit too far. You can see what the damage is to the edge, considerable. So I've got to come down. It actually looks as though it's split out, which tells me something about the wood too, doesn't it? Looks as though I might have a slightly shorter goblet. So what I want to do is to get back to a trued surface. I really don't want, I need the foot this diameter, so I'm going to have to come back to the end of that split. Extremely irritating. On the other hand, it will give me more room to get at the to do the undercutting, because I'll be further away from the tail centre. So, not all bad. So this will be the rim of my base. I'm going to cut the bottom cleanly and slightly undercut. I think the first thing I've learnt here is that that catch was no bad thing, because I can now have better access inside. Now if I had a longer bevel than this, I have my 1/4 inch detail gouge with a much longer bevel. That allows me to get in at a more acute angle. The rest has to come up because it's a slightly smaller tool. Actually provided a better cut. Would help to sharpen that. So I wouldn't have used this tool in months, if not years. So it should have sharpened it straight up. Not too bad a cut. So what I'm really doing also at this stage is finding out how the wood's going to work. So I'm going to be in here, pine, it's going to need 120 grit, so I'll start with that. A little bit difficult to get the finger in. 180 grit. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking it'd be quite nice to have some grooves in there, but I don't really have a little bent tool I can get in with, but I have an idea. Oh, I didn't like that bit very much. I think that will be enough on this occasion. With a thinner piece of 120 this time. sure that's nice and true. It looked a bit rounded. The first of the really exciting bits is cutting this all off. Right, get rid of that noise. Now, next thing is to true this up. Just need the minimum amount off to get it running through. What I meant to do, and forgot when I was thinking about other things, having established the first centre mark there, was to have turned the piece round into the chuck, so I'd then get a second centre, and that would have ensured that the cup was going to be dead central. So I'm going to have to eyeball this again. And that might come very slightly towards me. Right. Don't think I'm going to get any closer than that. And then I tighten up the chuck end. There are going to be teeth marks on that end, so they will have to be taken off. Tightening that up seems to have distorted the whole thing slightly, but the base appears to be sitting right into the chuck, so the teeth will just have squashed in a bit more into this fairly soft timber one way than another. Anyway, true all this up. Now, having just learnt a bit about hollowing into a deep cup, I'll apply that and just leave myself a longer stalk coming in, support stalk from the tailstock. So I'll take away about ½ an inch. Now, the next job is to set up the rest. The support. And this time I'm just going to use the detail gouge with the very long bevel. Bevel must be around 30 degrees. Now, I don't want to risk another run back up here, so I'll just put in a starter groove. I'm just wondering if I can get in with my back hollowing. Yes, I can. We need the compressed air. Check that that's rubbing all right. Now I can see what's happening at about between 3 and 4 o'clock over there. Now this is going to have to come out so that I can do the bottom bit. See how far down I am. I really want to be down a bit further than that. Whoa, hadn't expected that. Right. You get back where you belong. I was sure I tightened the banjo for the support up tight, but obviously not. Certainly is now. Oh, there's another little excitement. And just see if that breaks off, yes. Right, tailstock goes out of the way for the moment. Right, in with some more back hollowing. And the lathe goes down. Down to 470. I'm more interested in getting the depth at the moment. Almost do with something which pulls those together. I don't really have anything. Just need a clamp around there. Right, hope I've got it clamped. I'm going to go in with a 1-inch asymmetric round nose. I did try a 3/4 inch round nose, but that wasn't much better. In the end, I inserted a wedge, which you can just see below the paler of the two arms, which is the lower arm, and that steadied up the steady rest a little bit. But in the end, I found having a hand over the top of the bowl was the best way to go. Right, that's a relief. Anyway, I need to measure the depth and mark that on the outside, exactly where it is, and sand that. And we'll go down to 320. Now, if you're wondering why I haven't shaped the bowl before hollowing it, it's because you want the strength coming out. If you don't do that, and you have a catch, it's really it's likely to split, and that's pretty well what I'm after in the way of a cross section here. What that told me is that wood's actually quite strong, which is good. Right, I'm going to leave that for the moment. Now, next thing is to support the end and bring the tailstock back. This time the tailstock's going right into the middle, and I want to support it as near the bottom as possible, where there's maximum kind of strength. And I'm going to use one of these little discs with a bit of cloth. That in there. That appears to be central. Now I can't put too much pressure here because later that will bend the stem. Now, unfortunately, I failed to press the button, the record button, whilst I did the cup part. There was nothing unusual about it, just turned with a skew chisel, 1-inch skew, and the bead. And we'll now get a wider view of how I go about doing the stem. Oh, it's such a waste of wood, isn't it? Press down a bit because it's a smaller diameter. Now, I don't want an absolutely straight stem, I want a bit of a curve to it because it'll just look more elegant. I don't want it too thin up there either because that's likely just to break when I'm sanding just through torque. That's torque as in twisting. A bit more speed. I'm now up to 1400. I'm just wondering about putting a bit of detail in there. Now, this is going to be a totally useless cup. And the other tall one I did the other week had a little decoration in the middle, and it made the cup very nice to hold. Very well balanced. People worried about having their fingers this close to the edge. If you have a catch, the tool's going to go back. Never seen anybody cut themselves holding the or backing the spindle like this. Well, if you were pushing too hard, then you'd have broken the spindle before now anyway. And again, you probably wouldn't cut yourself. So this hand equalises any pressure you're putting with the tool. If you smell burning, you know you need to ease up a bit. Let the wood come to the tool. You don't need to push the tool into the wood. Half-inch spindle gouge. Now, what are we going to do up here? Teeth marks are going to have to go. Something chipped out there, better have a look. They're off there. Does seem to be chipping out a bit on the long grain. Yeah. It just doesn't feel as if it's cutting, so go back to the 3/8 spindle gouge. Better. Oh, just take that away. Now that's the bottom of the curve all the way up. Right, all that gets sanded. I think 180 should do this. My apologies, I forgot to widen the angle so you can see me sanding the stem. And finish that with beeswax. Because that's going to be a bit sticky, I'm going to put some oil on as well. Or linseed. Right, so now I need to finish the end. The first thing I'll do is just back everything off this way. And the shark jaws have a series of kind of teeth down in the body, so I'm just locating the jaws on the final lot of teeth. I've just sharpened this 1/2 inch spindle gouge. It's a little bit kind of flat just on the nose. Do I want all this? Probably not. I need a bit of weight in the bottom. 180. Right, little teeth marks to get rid of. So this now has to go between centres. You might remember I left a hole at the bottom, the centre. So it would be nice. Oh, I haven't polished the cup at the other end, so I'll do that. And whilst I'm doing that, I'll think about exactly how I'm going to turn this around. I've got to grip it from the other end, so if I'm lucky, that will fit into a chuck. So I've made a jam chuck for the bowl. For that, and so that's going to go in with this piece of non-slip cloth which has been cut across in the middle, and then slits come in here so that it doesn't double up too much as it goes in. And then the other end is supported by the tailstock. Oops. Now this just needs to be tight enough that the thing gets to drive, but I don't want the shaft flexing. Start slow. What I have to do now is get rid of these little chuck marks, which I will do with a skew chisel. So start slow, because what can happen if you bang a thin spindle on at high speed, 2000, the torque can actually twist it and just break it. But you can build it up. So I'm running at 1230. If I had second thoughts about this piece here, I could do something about it now, but I don't. Put a little chamfer on here. Nope, not a good decision. Put a cove. Not sure that's a good decision either. I've forgotten I've hollowed this out, haven't I? Oh dear, dear. Got away with it. Well, all that weight I think I had on the foot, I no longer have quite what I thought. It was a great relief that I take that out of the chuck in one piece. It is 590 millimeters, just under 2 feet.